heading to the midway stage of the 2012 FIA World Touring Car Championship, and into Austria for the first time. We're heading to the fast and furious Salzburg Ring, ready for the World Touring Car Championship to make its first appearance on Austrian soil. Well, hello everybody, I'm Martin Haven. Alongside me, British Touring Car Champion Matt Neal. 25 degrees of air temperature and feels every one of it. 52 degrees track temperature already, and it is only just 1 o'clock local time. It can only get hotter. And Matt Neal, that means the tyres are going to suffer almost as much as the drivers will in this heat.
Absolutely. I mean, at the Salzburg Ring circuit it's like a great big bowl amid the mountains, and so you get stifled, and there's not much wind down here, and it just, as you say, it's 25 degrees air temperature, but it feels over 30 all the time. But the thing that's going to really hurt today is the tyres. The tyres are going to be a big factor. This circuit is notoriously hard on tyres. You know, we've got an average speed, even with a slow first chicane and turn 10, we've got an average speed of over 110 miles an hour here. So those front tyres on the front wheel drives are going to get a real hard time.
We're looking there at our entry list. No surprises here, no extra entries. And we look forward to seeing the Lada of James Thompson back again in a fortnight's time when we go to Portimao in Portugal for their second visit. This was never planned to be one of their races. Well, Tom Coronel chatted to him at lunchtime, hoping for a bit of front tyre wear on the front wheel drive cars to allow his BMW to have a chance later on. Miss Austria here, among a whole host of locals, to greet the World Touring Car Championship for the first time. Of course, we are just, well, what, 50 miles over the border from the southeast corner of Bavaria, and there is a man who is effectively on his home race. It's not actually in Germany or in Bavaria, but it's the closest racetrack to the factory for Franz Engstler and his team boss Kurt Tremmel. He is actually an Austrian as well, so he's got 400 guests from Liqui Moly here. He's looking for a big race weekend.
Yeah, I did notice on a lot of the support races, the BMW E30 Challenge and a lot of the historics, a lot of Bavarian flags on the roofs, and big German influence, you know, obviously over here.
Yeah, very much so. We are as close to Munich as we are to Vienna here. Well, the championship being led by the reigning champion Yvan Muller. Rob Huff, who took pole position yesterday, closed 1 point on him. He got 5 for pole, 4 for Yvan Muller for second place, and 3 points for the man who's second in the championship, Alain Menu, who lines up in third place on the grid. Mehdi Benani also had a good qualifying, so too did Thiago Monteiro, the older of the Seat engines, and he's hoping that it'll be the last time he uses that engine before he gets the new Orica-built power unit along with Tom Boardman in Portimao. And as ever, lots to see on the grid. One of the delights for fans of the World Touring Car Championship is how open the paddock is, and the fact that you can get grid access, which you certainly can't in many other FIA World Championships. And it is a busy grid as well. And Matt, the first race rolling start means the prospect of funneling everybody through a tight chicane at the end of the start-finish straight is one that has definitely preoccupied the drivers during the lunch break.
Yeah, I mean, we go on about, and a lot of the drivers are going on about the very fast sections through turns 7, 8 and 9 of the track, but it's down to turn 1 is a big long run. It's as long as probably any straight. There's Hanger Straight at Silverstone in the UK, so and you've got one of the tightest little chicanes to negotiate at the end of that, and with a rolling start, you know, they're going to be arriving there 3 abreast in an awful hurry, and you know, I'm speaking to some of the guys, they're not really looking forward to it. We were saying that Oschersleben is one of the tightest turn 1s to negotiate, but this is probably equal here.
Yeah. Rob Huff, the man who will lead the charge, courtesy of this lap in qualifying. And down into corner 9-10, which is the long right-handed section at the end of the track. Car really on tippy toes, but he got a great tow from his teammate Yvan Muller and was able to put himself on pole for the 10th time in his career, only the first time this year for Rob Huff. And as he said afterwards, about time too. It was a Chevrolet 1, 2, 3. Free practice suggested it might have been a Chevrolet 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. safe because the Bamboo Engineering Chevy Cruisers were ultra fast as well. Pasquale Di Sabatino, I was chatting to him just before lunch. He said, why is it everything went well in free practice and it was a horror story in qualifying? He's way back from where he should be. Again, he was top 5 on times in morning warm-up this morning. It is Gabriele Tarquini, though, who is the best of the rest in 4th place, ahead of Bamboo Engineering Crews, Alex McDowell, then Thiago Montero. Stefano D'Aste, top BMW, ahead of Pepe Oriola. McDowell, incidentally, 5th, his best grid position, and the top Yokohama independent. Tom Coronel is 9th from Alexei Dudicalo. Darilo Young and Matey Benani round out the top dozen, ahead of James Nash's Ford, who was 1400ths out of Q2. Looking here on the grid at Salzburg Ring, ready for round 11 of the FIA World Touring Car Championship. The man who starts in 8th place for race 1 and 3rd for race 2 in the reverse top 10 grid. Pepe Oriola, young Spaniard, now fully 17-year-old veteran of the World Touring Car Champion. Well, Matt, there's a crowd down here on the grid. There's a lot crowded round in the grandstands, but there's masses on the hillsides. Look right in the background there. Every bit of free meadow pretty much has got spectators sitting on it, and with the sun blazing down on them, a little bit of breeze will really be very pleasant for them, but drivers aren't going to benefit much from that. Yeah, the atmosphere here, it's like a proper auditorium. You know, the circuit, 2 sides of the circuit are on different levels, but the crowd can get an elevated view where our, just seeing from where our cameramans are watching now, and from pretty much wherever they can see a massive amount of the of what's happening during the races, which makes it great for spectators, and they've had fantastic pre-sales here this weekend as well. And the weather's beautiful as well. It snowed on Tuesday, hail on Wednesday, but it's 25 degrees and climbing here on race day. And, we really have been blessed. We've been chasing the sun around Europe here this run of the season. Thiago Montero had a good qualifying run. Really good run for him, actually, bearing in mind that his engine is not quite a match for the new Orica-built engine. He's 6th on the grid, and Alex McDowell in 5th position. And again, really confidence-inspiring qualifying for Alex. He came out of it annoyed with himself that he didn't get more because teammate Pasquale Di Sabatino wasn't up there. He didn't have a buddy to slipstream with. He feels that he has a car, and perhaps rightly so, that he should have been able to challenge the 3 blue Chevys at the front with. Yeah, I mean, he was only 0.3 of a second down on Alain Menu's car, so it's the blink of an eye, isn't it? Yeah. So it's... Well, like Gabriele Tarquini, he was in a queue of about 6 or 7 assorted cars, but you don't have a teammate to go out with. You have to try and draft a toe off somebody, which usually means you're giving one to somebody behind as well. It's so marginal, though, Martin. This is what McDowell's teammate De Sabatini, he found. He's back down in, what is he, 16th place, and with equal machinery, and it's finding the lap, getting the draft in the right position, getting just far enough back, but not too far, not too close, so they're not going to get in your way, and then hoping you don't hit the traffic, because it is pretty tight and twisty around here. Absolutely. You have to rehearse this very well. We've seen it rehearsed at Monza, we've seen it rehearsed at Imola. When they started, Seat weren't great at it. Everybody kept making mistakes. When they started, Chevy weren't great at it. They all kept making mistakes as well. Somebody would lock up at the front of the queue and it kiboshes everybody's lap. But practice makes perfect, and they definitely made the best job of it. We were just looking at Menu there. It'll be interesting. He was my tip for pole, and I think he did have the pace for pole this weekend, but if things went wrong, he had a bit of a coming together on his final run when he was due the toe with Coronel. So it'll be interesting to see if he can put the 2 lead cars under any pressure and get them to crack anyway. Into turn 10, Huffy was magnificent, arriving there at 150 mile an hour as he hit the brakes, and we had some slow-mo shots from qualifying. He'd be drifting the rear of the car in. It was spectacular, so spectacular he actually got it wrong in this morning's warm-up and had a big pirouette and probably didn't do his tyres much good, but they are absolutely on the edge. So if Menu can keep the Muller and Huffy under pressure, you never know what could happen. No, you're absolutely right. I mean, Rob said after qualifying, it's great to be at the front. The real shame, of course, is I'm giving every single car behind me a massive tow. So he's expecting them to come streaming by him down the back straight, and he's going to have to be ready for that. And, that may well have been why he was really pushing on so hard in turn 9 and 10, which are going to be absolutely critical to this race, as always in Salzburg. So the cars are getting ready now to wave off on the green flag lap. coming down for the last time at pedestrian pace. Thumbs up in Thiago Montero's garage to this first corner. This is turn 1, turn 2, hard right, hard left, and on board with Norbert Michelis. Even at this pedestrian pace, Matt, it's not an open chicane when they're all steaming in down, and especially the leaders, Huff and Muller on the front row. They've got 23 other cars behind going incrementally faster, faster, faster than they are.
All trying to outbrake each other.
Yes.
But there is one get-out clause. You know, there's an escape road to the left, which we saw Muller specifically trying out. It's got some tyre stacks in the way, so you have to negotiate it. It's not going to be quick through. And you do have to take to it very early.
Yes.
But it is an escape road, just in case something horrible goes wrong. Now, Muller I think he was very wise. He was checking that out in warm-up this morning. Yeah. So we'll see
I think by the time you need it, you've usually gone by the entrance to it. It's one of those things where you've gone by the slip road when you realise that was your exit. There's Kurt Tremmel, our token Austrian, as he was described in a press release today, or the other day. He's the chief engineer, team boss of Engstler Liquimoli BMW. Looking at the Yokohama Trophy points, and again, like the main championship, in fact, even more so, going to be very, very busy. Chevrolet got a big hospitality unit just over the hill, out of sight there by the car parks, and 1 or 2 fans, as you can see here. Chevrolet, their cars 1, 2, 3 on the grid. The view from Gabriele Tarquini. There's his engineer, Giancarlo Bruno, watching with great interest. So, top half-dozen cars, all front-wheel drive. As we come round through this banked corner, Matt, corner 9, which is going to be key to the race.
Yeah, this is actually through 9 into 10, which is the as we can't start to come back through the S's. They've got a minimum and maximum speed they now have to achieve with this rolling start. So they'll be watching the dashes, because they'll have a speed readout on there, just to make sure. They'll have to stay in formation in their grid line to make sure they don't cross over.
With the Union flag on his roof, on the right of your picture, the driver's right of the track, it is Rob Huff who controls this grid. He's on the left of your screen, already on the grass. Pasquale De Sabatino, they get the green light anyway. It's going to be about 5 wide into chicane. Stefano D'Asti on the extreme left trying to make a move. Thiago Montero squeezing up the inside. He's almost alongside Tarquini. Tarquini's got in front of McDowell. So has Montero. McDowell doesn't make a good start. Huff into the lead in front of Muller, and Menu now clearly. Ooh, Oriola goes over the gravel there. Somebody went up the escape road. Dirt being kicked up everywhere. It was Michelis or Weber, not sure which. Clearly for Muller and Menu, there's no mileage in trying to pass Huff into that first chicane, because once you get out of here, corner 5, you've got about a mile of flat out straight running, and then they can sit in the slipstream and just allow it to tow them right up to the race leader.
Yeah, very clean, very well behaved by the leading boys. Oriola is still on it.
Was that Oriola? Yes, it is. Behind Alex McDowell, Pepe Oriola pushing. I thought it was James Nash at first.
I'm amazed he's gone out the gravel that quickly.
Well, he just shot straight across the top, didn't he? Thiago Montero's in front of them. That's the battle for 5th, and Muller already having a look at Huff. Cold-ish tyres still. Muller's showing his nose inside. If he could have got alongside there, Matt, nothing Huff could have done to hold him off.
Well, he'd have been picking up the slipstream effect there, and he's getting ever so
James Nash in the background picking up a place. Darrell Young goes around the outside in the Lotus Ladies Cup. Saw some good outside passes there. It can be done. It's clean enough. It is still Huff, Menu, Muller.
Who's that?
And that's Alberto Cerchi. Now, where did Menu get by Muller? He didn't. So timing screen lied to us at some stage. It is Muller second, Menu third, Chevy 1, 2, 3, then Tarquini and Montero, teammates and good friends. McDowell defending on the inside against Oriola in the Seat.
Yeah, it doesn't matter how well and cleanly Huffy drives, it's going to be awfully hard for him to get away, make a break for it, because the others can just pull him in down the straights as soon as they just suck him back in the airstream.
Yellow flags in sector 3, and that is because Norbert Michelis has gone off down there at turn 9 or 10.
That's Michelis.
That's Michelis. Well, it's not car 5 then, clearly, so it may be car 27, which would be the other orange and black machine. So, yeah, you're right. Michelis is still on track.
No, we've got both.
That's Norbert and that's Gabor, so car 16 it now says, and that would be Cerchi. Yes. And James Nash as well. Again, Muller looking. And again, Huff is going to have to defend the inside line every one of these dozen laps.
It's hard to appreciate from the television, the speed and commitment of that corner.
and the car is really dancing around on its tiptoes, threatening to pitch you into the gravel at any moment there, Matt.
You know, you can see where they're just coming through now, all the line of rubber from the locked-up wheels. Rear-wheel drives will be snagging an inside front. Front-wheel drives will be snagging an inside rear. But every time they do it, it just makes it a little bit like a 50p piece. And you try rolling that 50p piece down a table, it can start to rattle your eyeballs out if you do it too much.
Absolutely right, and of course it makes you slower in braking areas as well. You have to brake a little earlier. Huff using the racing line, Muller showing his nose. Now, one factor that we haven't talked about yet is the temperature. Huff should get away with that. He didn't pass anybody, but he did outbrake himself quite comprehensively, and that shows how close they are to the edge. Drive-through penalty for Pasquale Di Sabatino for making a false start. Now, that's because he was probably out of the grid lines.
But Martin, Huffy's tyres are going to be dirty now, and a trip through the gravel, you don't know what gravel's gone in through. The air intake is quite low down. It could fill his radiator up, get his engine a bit warm.
Well, the other thing I was going to talk about with Muller sticking his nose out of the airstream, because we haven't talked about overheating yet.
Here comes Muller, he smells blood.
He's got to go the long way round, and it is a long way round. But listen, just foot to the boards. Huffy's got him. He's on the brakes earlier, but he's got the inside. And Ivan's got to find 2 extra car lengths to go around the outside. Well,
Menu's there.
Yeah, Menu's all over them now. But of course, he got a massive toe off both of them, so it's hooving him right up.
This is going to be a long race for these boys.
I tell you what, never mind for these boys, it's going to be a long race for everybody on the pit wall, praying, hoping against hope that nothing happens. They're lapping in the mid-128s, well, everybody else in the mid-129s.
I think Rob's holding these guys up at the minute. He's under pressure.
Well, of course he is, because they're both benefiting from the toe behind him. Menu even more than Muller. And Rob just has to play with a straight bat, hold his line. In the background, Tarquini doing the same with Montero, McDowell, Oriola, Dudicalo. Matt, there's not a single gap in the entire field, apart from the one between Menu in third and Tarquini in fourth, that's bigger than more than a couple of tenths of a second.
Here comes Muller again. He's going for the wide entry, try and get a real good run out. Nice banked corner in turn 5. Menu's dropped back a little bit there. It'd be interesting to see how much toe he can pick up here.
Well, again, watching the Lotus race, you know, slightly underpowered cars compared to these, you can get a toe down here that just is like having DRS open in Formula 1. Slippery surface flag is being shown down here at the fast turn 7, turn 8 sweeps.
That can be just for gravel on the circuit if someone's had a little bit of an off.
Well, we've had a couple go through the gravel traps. There has been a change of position. Gabor Weber's moved up to 17th ahead of Charles Eng. But apart from that, nothing else this lap. Michelet's fastest man on the track. Huff defends.
He's going to stand himself out if he's not careful.
Menu has got his nose inside and just allows Muller to survive that one, which I'm not necessarily sure would be the same the other way round, because Muller, once he's got his foot in the door, tends to like to keep it there.
Muller's like in a boxing match, fighting the fighter on one side and fighting his trainer behind him.
Yeah, absolutely. And look at this. This is all arms and elbows from everybody. Stefano D'Aste, the BMW there, dragging a back bumper. He's been clumped by somebody. And Pasquale Di Sabatino yet to serve his drive-through penalty. Huff, Muller, Menu, 1, 2, 3. Now, anybody who says that Chevrolet are sandbagging, they are not sandbagging, and Daryl O'Young gets hooked up across the front of Stefano D'Aste. We'll get another look at that again, because I was looking further forward when that happened at the bottom of the picture, because Muller again has got a great run on Huff. This is the battle for the lead, lap 5 of 12. This is going to be a real cat and mouse game all the way to the checker. Daryl O'Young going over the chicane, dropped back from 11th place down to probably about 20th. There's a bit of debris on the track there. This is the battle for third. Tarquini, Montero, McDowell. And Matt, they just crept away from Oriola, who's fighting off Dudicalo, Benani, D'Aste, yada, yada, yada. Oh, and that's Daryl. So obviously there was some problem there. Left front looks like it's separated from the car. He's gone off, and that's a real problem for special tuning, because there's only 20 minutes between the two races. There are no other races between today's two races, so they have got to get, Daryl has somehow got to get that car back to the pits, or he's out of race 2 as well.
Yeah, Montero, just looking back on Montero here from Tarquini, he's absolutely on it today.
He has been all weekend, Thiago. He really, really has been. Bearing in mind that the car in front of us now has the new Orica-built engine, which demonstrably has been quicker. And McDowell having a little look. He's caught up to Tarquini, to Montero in the toe so much he had to pull out or run up the back of it.
Yeah, if he'd added that much momentum, I would have thought he'd have been able to have a stab at the inside, but that Seat is good under the brakes, and it's got exceptionally good torque, well, especially the new engine, which Tarquini's got, especially good torque out the end, out the corners.
Yellow flags out here for Darrell O'Young's car, which is off in the gravel on the extreme left. And now the leaders once more back into the green. Stefano D'Aste in the pit lane. Ooh, they're going to have to work on whatever is required at Vika Sport, because he could end up well up on the race 2 grid. He should be on row 2.
Looks like
Darrell's car, I think, is out for the rest of the weekend. That's it.
Is that a safety car?
Yeah,
safety car.
Well, that is a tow vehicle, but the safety car will come out. The TRW safety car there is Bruno Correa in the safety car. Lights are on, and that is the end of the road, I'm afraid, for Darrell O'Young and the special tuning Seat. And that's really tough break.
It looks like there's more smoke there than would just be caused by...
so much dust in the gravel traps, and what's happened to Stefano's car? Well, it's lost a bit of bumper, it's probably had the exhaust knocked sideways.
It didn't help. That was Darrell as well, wasn't it?
I think that was right at the very beginning. Don't know who was responsible for that. Stefano can't believe it, and they need to work on the car now. During the race, you're allowed to work on the car as much as you like, and it won't affect his race 2 grid position unless they have to take it out of Parc Fermé and work on it before the repair time.
Oh, he just looked at... Oh,
yeah.
Caught the front of him, not the back of him.
Yeah, D'Aste caught but there was clearly something, I think,
D'Aste
left
got
front
nowhere to go.
corner. No, exactly, no. Clearly something in the left front corner of Darrell's car that broke and pitched him off into the gravel at corner 5.
Now, all the guys, they're going to be really... Oh, we'll just
take a look at the start. Well, there's Pasquale Di Sabatino. Got caught out, I think, by people checking up in front of him, and he sort of shot by somebody on the grass into the first corner from Menu's view. They did a good job, didn't they? There was no biffing and barging from the Chevys, all nice and clean.
Well, they'd probably had a bit of a bony finger before, saying, look, lads, you've got to behave yourself, and then you can get it on.
Well, you know, they know it, don't they? And that's Cherki, right front puncture.
Well, it's whether the wheels broken, you'd have think he'd have limped his way back to the pits, because he's not far from there. So you can damage your car doing that, especially through coming back on the circuit.
And you might never know, you know, a stone can get into a drive belt there and fling it off, and suddenly the car's got no power, no electrics, it overheats and everything else.
Too much front brake on Darrell's car. The problem is you can adjust the bias of your brakes, and you will need to adjust the bias of your brakes from front to rear as the race goes on. With the front wheel drive, as you really give those front tyres a hard time, they start to go over temperature, lose the grip. You obviously have to put a bit of balance back to the rear brakes. But because you've got such high speed and such long runs, you need a lot of front brake to try and get it to dive onto its nose and to try and get the front to turn in. So it's a real balancing act for them, but they'll all be busy.
Well, the Vika Sport mechanics are... I'm assuming that Stefano's car went down on power. That may not be unrelated to getting a biff up the back, and the exhaust may have changed the back pressure and confused the chips that run these engines. But the safety car being out, that's precious extra time, Matt. First of all, extra laps get added to the race. Secondly, this racing lap, instead of being a minute and a half, will be closer to 4 minutes, and so will the next one. They've just been handed 6 free minutes to work on the car, and a bent steering arm we're hearing now for Stefano D'Aste.
Yeah, one of the disappointing things, though, Martin, is the tyres and their degradation was going to be a real factor in this race round here, especially in this heat. And I was looking forward to the last 2 or 3 laps and seeing who'd gone a bit brave on the setups and might pop a tyre, or, you know, and that was now.
You never know with these temperatures, we may still.
Well, you could do, but they're now letting them all cool down, let the pressures equalise, and so that this will be good for their tyres, good for the car, cool the engines, because of the close slipstreaming. It's not the tyres just going up in temperature, it's the engines as well, and you know, they'll be just letting it all cool down and get nice before they get the green flag again. But the other good thing is the Seats are now back on the Chevys again. So now Menu's got to start looking in his rear-view mirror as well, and it'll be interesting to see if they can hang on to him now.
Yeah, Tarquini has gone from 2.8 seconds behind Alan Menu to 2.8 car lengths behind Alan Menu, not even. So they are very much closer. Franz Engstler 13th for Liqui Moly Engstler team, and Gabriele Tarquini in 4th place at the moment. Best of the non-Chevys.
That front end doesn't look quite right.
No.
Does it?
It almost looks like a subframe's collapse or something. Mind you, being towed through that gravel probably isn't helping. This again, Rob Huff's run through the gravel. And as a result, bump drafting from Ivan Muller. You don't often get that in European racing. Of course, it's
right. Muller said he was getting too old for turn 8, but here he is. He's doing, this is 150 mile an hour around the outside. So I don't think he's too old for a lot.
He's too old for it on a golf cart on Thursday. He might even be too old for it in free practice, but show a red rag to a bull, he's not too old for anything in a race.
Yeah, there's a sign in the grandstand, isn't it? Tarquini El Matador, which he is. That perfectly describes him. But Muller is out of exactly the same mould as you said earlier. Yeah,
they race like there's no tomorrow. They really do. So safety car remains out. Up to 2 laps are allowed to be added to the race distance. So this is our second lap of the safety car. We're now out to 14 lap race distance. And the teams, of course, have to load the car with fuel to take account for that. In the Look Oil garage, everybody looking quite relaxed. In fact, it's a nice little breeze just sort of wafting down the pit lane there. So this new pits facility they built only a couple of years ago here at the Salzburg Ring. And everybody looking relatively relaxed. Well, I would think this will be last lap behind the safety car. I would think it will come in this lap because we sort of saw that Darrell's car was a long way to being towed out of the gravel last time round.
Yeah, Martin, I just what a lot of people fail to appreciate, again, from the camera angles, is the speed these guys are going around here. You know, we've got a historic race where we've got 400-500 horsepower sports cars, and they are going around 6 seconds a lap slower than these guys. And a second at 80 miles an hour is 100 feet. So you can see the distance that they're giving away.
Looking for the lights to go out on the safety car at the end of the long back straight. Darrell Young's car has been towed away. Darrell has also been taken away in the ambulance to the medical centre. In fact, Darrell's car has got even deeper. Yeah, Ronnie, I know, another lap behind the safety car. Now,
he's going to be sweating as much as the drivers as RML chief director.
But we talk about, you know, the engine's been able to cool down, but actually are they? Because they're going way below the design speed for getting good air through the engine. Are they actually going to be starting to heat up now?
Yes, but they are doing much lower revs. So they're operating.
Yeah, I tell you what, when my car starts to overheat in traffic, I want the heater on full belt no matter what speed I'm doing.
That's when you're sat on the M1 at 0 miles an hour, though.
Yeah, no, even poodling through. So lights are off on the safety car. Darrell Young's car still needs a fair bit of towing, I think, but it's out of harm's way, even if it's not out of the gravel trap. So we get ready to restart. Safety car is heading for the pit lane, and Rob Huff is backing the field up into the chicane, and I imagine as soon as he is out of the S's, in fact, even before he's gone, kicking up the dust on the outside, and away we go. Green flag racing once more. Rob Huff, the race leader. Menu in 3rd place, pulling away quickly from Tarquini at the restart, and they will have rehearsed that on the radio. Where is Rob going to go? We know that they do that. We know that they talk to each other. It's only sensible. Okay, Rob's going to go the moment he turns into, say, turn 12, and the other two will go the same instant and leave Tarquini, as they have done now. Yeah, we hear it on the Inside magazine programs on Tuesday night. We've heard them talking about it during safety car periods before. When is the leader going to go? They talk to each other. It is a team, you know. Each of the engineers for each of these cars in the Chevrolet team wants their car and their driver and their group of mechanics to win, but Ronnie wants to make sure, for Eric Nev there, the head of Chevrolet Racing, that Chevrolet win. And if they're 1, 2, 3, they don't want 2 going off in a big shunt or getting jumped by Tarquini.
So yeah, up the toe again. Let's get back on the leaders.
Tom Boardman dropping back at the tail. We saw Emlyn Evans and Tom's dad, John Boardman, looking relaxed on the pit wall, but Tom has just dropped to the back of the pack there.
Well, he's the only
he's the last surviving of the diesel Seat, so he will get his new engine, spec engine
actually,
for Portimao the next time
then, the race 12, it's the end of an era. It will be the last appearance, we believe, of a Seat TDI car in the World Touring Car Championship. So yeah, it's its swan song.
Externally, you cannot tell any difference. No. The front end and air intakes and everything are exactly the same. It's just it's the heart that beats inside.
Absolutely. That sounded like a Chevy ad. On board with Tom Coronel. Where are we with this battle? Chasing down the straight, James Nash is right behind us. Norbert Mikulits in front. And the one thing this has done, as Matt, you said earlier, is it's allowed everybody's tyres to cool down, and that plays against the BMW, because they were hoping that the front-wheel drive cars were really going to be in trouble. Gabor Weber just hanging on in 14th. In fact, he got back in front of Franz Engstler, so that was a pass for position. Gabor Weber dived inside Franz Engstler and got the place away from the German driver. He's got Tom Chilton's forward behind him.
When they were all going through that first chicane, I was about to say, watch these guys, they're all absolutely inch perfect to the tyre wall, just clipping, you know, the speed they're arriving at. Weber arrives, everything
all crossed up, but he made the pass.
Muller going for the outside.
Muller's going outside. We've seen this happen before. He was that far in front, but it's a long, sweeping right-hander, turn 9.
Now, if Menu is going to sit on Huffy's boot lid.
Yep, and that will help Huff go quicker. Menu looking for an inside move, maybe. 3 wide would be hard stopping. Muller's got the line, but he's running out of road, and Huff just clings on, and that was well judged by both drivers, Matt.
Muller had nowhere to go. He came back out, and I'm surprised Menu wasn't in there like
Flynn.
Yes.
No, you're right, absolutely. It did look at one stage as though Menu might have ended up leading the race from that trio. Certainly we've seen battles under slipstreaming like that before. McDowell again in the background, 6th place, trying to pull out from behind Thiago Monteiro into this massive stop. I mean, they fly through this at insane speeds. Dudicalo and Bernardi spin round. Mikulits goes through. Dudicalo's in the barriers. Look like broken left front suspension. And Gabor Weber with a puncture, perhaps. No, there's James Nash in front of Norbert Mikulits, looking inside Tom Coronel. The front end of that Ford, really pointy. James Nash seems to have that working pretty well.
Yeah, I mean, the Ford is historically they've been running in the British Touring Car Championship, which is the circuits in Britain are a lot tighter, a lot twisty. They require higher downforce, a lot better front end. You've got to get in and get out of corners. Here we got Muller on the.
He's coming again.
Got the pace.
He is coming again. This time he doesn't even have an overlap. Dudicalo is out at turn 2. And Stefano D'Aste still in the pits with the Vickers 14 working on his car. Huffy locking up the tyres in extremis as he teeters on the edge of disaster. But that's what is required to win this race from Ivan Muller and Alain Menu. You can't take it easy. They'll just be gone past you.
Yeah, I almost just sit here lap after lap, corner after corner, waiting for Huffy to make a mistake. But how many times has he proved us wrong? He's just soaked up the pressure either Menu or Muller can give him, and he's scored wins, high pressure wins at Monza, at Marrakesh, where they've given him a hard time all the way through, and he's come up with the goods.
Absolutely right. You have to here, don't you? No overtaking at the chicane, which is probably a blessing for everybody. And this is Cherki and Chilton. Little rub there. Has that done any damage to Tom's car? Doesn't look like it, no. He's still going anyway, but Alberto Cherki got by him and Mehdi Bennani. Of course, Bennani was involved in that incident with Dudicalo, and he's getting towed out of the way.
I don't think that's going to go anywhere fast.
I can't remember who was in front of whom there, but that was side by side into the chicane, and that was always going to be a bit of a disaster. And Norbert Mikulits almost got through without a touch.
It's a oh no.
Yeah.
They must be fragile, those Seats on the front end.
Well, you know, the suspension is designed to take a certain amount of load, but not a sudden shock sideways, is it? And you so often see wheel-to-wheel contact breaks the steering arm or something.
You can see Huff's car moving around there.
Yeah, he's soaking it up, isn't he? Just sucking it up. You know, it's like Chelsea in blue last night, just taking all the pressure, everything that comes at them, just dealing with it. Yeah, he's got a game plan. He knew it was always going to be like this. Engstler goes back past Gabor Weber, who runs out of road. A parabolic moment there, but with far less runoff area. Well held. Montero pulling out the slipstream. Is he going to have a run at Tarquini? He's not, because yellow flags are still out there. And Dudicalo's car definitely has got a wrecked front end. It's gouging the grass as it's dragged away backwards. So I don't think Dudicalo will reappear, except for maybe at the back of the grid if they're lucky. On board with Thiago, that was 5th place. Tarquini in 4th. And for the BMWs, making no progress here at all. That safety car has really been a welcome break from the heat and the unremitting pressure in the front-wheel drive car tyres.
A lot of gravel down there, floating tyres around as well. Yep. What's disappointing is Menu's dropped back off the back of Muller now a wee bit, which is, well, you'd think, nice.
Yeah, hello,
chaps.
Rather you than me. Well, this is the last lap, so they shouldn't be coming back through there at racing speed. Last time into turn 9, flat out into this at 150 miles an hour, and then hard on the brakes for the final time into turn 10. Huff drifting the tail a little, but look, gets the nose right to the white line, Matt. And again, it's block, block, block. Deny, deny, deny. Muller's done everything he can to harry Huff, going the long way around the outside on a number of occasions, but nothing has unsettled the Englishman. And Rob Huff is going to come to the line and win round 11 of the FIA World Touring Car Championship here. The first man to win a World Touring Car race in Salzburg. Ivan Muller in 2nd, Alemenu in 3rd, Tarquini, Montero, McDowell, and then Oriola, Coronel, Mikulits and Nash.
Englishman in the blue strip winning again.
Yeah.
I
I don't think there were any English, but there were Ashley Cole.
Ashley
right, he
Cole.
played last night.
We had one.
Very few English players in the Chelsea side. Nevertheless, I think the parallel definitely is worth making. You know, he soaked up all the pressure, and he knew right from the beginning, because he was the man who was giving everyone a tow, he knew exactly what the race was going to be about.
I must admit, about just before mid-distance, when Muller was getting a real good slipstream off him, I thought his days were numbered at the front, but fair play. Again, as I said before, he soaked up the pressure, kept it inch perfect, and you could see how much the car was dancing around, absolutely on the edge. The speeds they're doing, phenomenal, and he soaked it all up and got the victory.
Well, it took him till race 8 to actually win a race. Race 11, he's won his 2nd, and that is his 20th career win, which puts him 1 ahead of Alemenu, 2 ahead of triple champion Andy Prio, but still 6 behind Ivan Muller, and all of those extra 6 have come this year for Muller. Cars in the Parc Fermé now, top 3 in the, winners' enclosure, along with our independent winner. So it is 4 Chevy Cruises, because in the background you can see the red, white and blue of Alex McDowell's Bamboo Engineering car. And Rob Huff clearly delighted with that win.
Menu's always, Muller is always cool, isn't he? He just gets out.
Yeah.
Another day at the office.
Yeah.
He got the points, solid. You know, he's very hard to fluster, and when you do get under his skin, he bites you, so he does come back.
Well, you know, he's always thrilled to win, never that thrilled to be 2nd or 3rd. You know, okay, happy for the team and so on, but no, it's all about winning, as it is for all of these guys. You don't get into this, you don't sacrifice so much in your life to do this if you're a bit meh about having a race win. It is what it's all about.
Yeah, it's the amount of time these guys are going to be away from home.
Yeah.
You know, I remember they'll be away 200 days of the year away from their home life. That's, you know, 7 months. You know, it's not a 20 race Formula 1 season, but it's a hell of a commitment for your lifestyle. You know, especially some of these guys are married with children and all the rest of it.
Well, some are heading towards grandfather stage. Mentioning no names, Alan. I don't think Alan's kids are quite old enough to produce kids yet, but we're getting that way. Well, down there in the throng somewhere is Bob Constanduros. We'll catch up with Rob Huff and our Yokohama Trophy winner, Alex McDowell.
An absolutely emphatic win from Rob Huff. Rob, that must have been so much pressure.
That was hard work. You know, when you're leading out the front here, as we've said all weekend, it's all about the slipstreaming. And you're losing half a second, probably about 10, 12 kilometres an hour up the back straight. So to keep your van behind me there was one of the hardest races I think I've probably ever had. But fantastic result, exactly what we needed. Got to do it all again in 15 minutes, though.
Thank you very much. And there are 4 Chevrolets in the Valvoline Motion Park. Alex McDowell, an independent winner. How was that for you?
Yeah, it feels great to finally be, you know, back on the podium. An independent win is what we needed. because we struggled at the start of the season, and then, you know, we've just got used to the Chevy as it went on, and the car was really strong today. Just those Seats know how to defend, so you know, they're wise old drivers, and hopefully if we start fifth in this one, we get a good standing start. We'll be back up there with the works guys.
Enjoy the podium.
He's a quietly spoken lad, isn't he, Alex McDowell? But there's no question that he knows he's got a car, and if he can continue to unlock that potential, there's no reason why he shouldn't be really challenging the three blue Chevrolets in front of him. And for Richard Coleman and the guys at Bamboo Engineering, great result, top of the Yokohama Independence and 6th overall. So again, producing the speed. Pasquale Di Sabatino, even after his drive-through penalty, finished in 12th position in what was a fairly entertaining race. Confirmation there of your result. Top BMW Tom Coronel only 8th, and Stefano D'Aste did not get back out. So wait and see. In fact, D'Aste's shown as making 2 pit stops, so he did get out and went back in again before the end of the race. We'll have to wait and see whether Stefano will make it onto the grid, because he should start 4th behind Coronel. Race 2 might be a good one for the BMW drivers.
Yeah, some good progress made by both the Fords, Nash and Chilton, moving up to 16th and 10th respectively. But it's a shame they've got to go back to their original grid positions for the start of race 2 with, you know, the format that we follow now. So it's Caprioli-Rola.
Up the narrow staircase of talent. And what's left of Darrell O'Young's car.
Yeah, they've made a meal of getting that out, haven't they?
Yeah, and Darrell clearly, well, he was taken away by the ambulance to the medical centre, so hopefully he is A-OK. There's Huffy, our race 1 winner now, moves ahead of teammate Alain Menu, 5 points between them, and they are gradually starting to reel in Ivan. You know, he's going to have to be in front of Ivan every single lap of the rest of the season, pretty much. If Ivan has another couple of wins, he is going to creep away again, and all the hard work of the last few weeks by Huff and Menu will be undone.
Well, you look at the stats so far. When we came into this weekend, 10 races down, and Muller had won 5 of them. So that's fair bit of domination there, and the rest have been sort of spread out. So but even then, he's always there in the mix.
Four Chevrolet drivers ready to step up onto the podium here for the first time ever in Salzburg for the World Touring Car Championship. Swiss driver Alain Menu, not far from home here either. We're in a little triangle that is the corner of Austria, Switzerland and Bavaria. Second place for Ivan Muller. And Rob Huff takes the top step. Our Yokohama Trophy winner is also a Chevrolet driver, Bamboo Engineering's Alex McDowell. We're going to let him on. Yes, we are. We're going to have our representative Chevrolet Racing first for the winning constructor. And Alex McDowell comes out onto the podium as well. Pick a girl, any girl. Oh.
Alex.
Dear, oh dear. And now the winning driver's national anthem. And for the winning constructor, the US anthem for Chevrolet. So congratulations to our top three. And of course, Matt Neal, these guys, 1, 2, 3 on the grid in race 1 will start 10, 9 and 8 in race 2. And we'll wait and see whether they can parlay their pace at the front into any kind of overtaking. Mr. Austria presenting the trophies.
Very nice way to get your trophy, isn't it?
Alan's been greedy. He's going, I'll do the French thing. I'll have 3. Thank you very much.
Yeah, it's obvious that these 3 have
no kisses.
Oh, you get a chaff. Ivan will be chuffed about that.
Ivan just went, no kisses. Very funny. Yeah, sorry, go ahead.
These 3 obviously have got better pace over the rest of the grid. So it'll be interesting to see how they can make that count whilst defending from each other through the race. I mean, Huffy's... he's got the win under his belt. He'll need a can of my teammate Flash's Iron Brew for the next one, I think, to rally around and get some good haul of points.
Well, front row of the grid for race 2 may have Alexis Dudicalo, but that's by no means certain since his car was damaged at the end of race 1. Tom Coronel should be there. Pepe Oriola should start 3rd. Stefano D'Aste may not start in 4th place, though hopefully he will be okay. So we could be missing 2 of our top 4 drivers on the race 2 grid. And I'm not sure that we're going to see Daryl Young at all. Hopefully he is A-OK. He was taken away in the ambulance to the medical centre.
Yeah, his accident looked very simple, you know, and then it was almost as though he just pulled off, and then it seemed to get more of a drama as it all went on.
Yes, not quite sure what happened there at all, I have to say. Eric Nev looking very happy, wearing the traditional bow tie for Chevrolet Racing, having pole position, courtesy of Rob Huff. And now the first 1, 2, 3 of the day. Second 1, 2, 3 is going to be very difficult to produce from 10th, 9th and 8th. Yeah, this isn't Monza, Matt, where you've got lots of long straights and potential for overtaking. Here, there's much less potential for overtaking, so you're going to have to work an awful lot harder for it.
Yes, but, I mean, they have the same top gears. You know, they'll ratio the gearing of the gearboxes. So maximum revs in 6th gear for every circuit they go to completely optimise the gearbox. Here, they are ratioed for exactly the same top speed as Monza. So it is awfully quick. And Monza is all about slipstreaming and how much you can make that count. Muller almost made it count. He got almost in front, almost got the overlap, but Huffy just managed to have him back. So it'll be interesting with when they're trying to come through some of the slower cars, who can make it count.
Last lap, all 3 Chevys set their fastest race laps. 1:28.503 for Menu, 1:28.500 for Huff, and 1:28.340 for Muller in the slipstream behind Huff, as he gave it everything on the final run. Well, this was a little earlier after Huff's trip through the gravel, and Muller almost fully in front. Didn't quite have enough, Matt, to tuck back in front of Huff.
You can feel that slipstream, can't you? You just sat watching the TV.
Yeah, he can almost hear it, but never quite got his back bumper in front of Rob. And then the corner turned away from it. That's a long corner as well. That's 500, 600, 700 meters worth of track. That's a lot of overlap to be giving away.
I mean, one thing you can't appreciate from you know, people from watching the television is the amount is when you get into that toe, get into the slipstream of the car in front of you, the amount of buffeting your car and you incorporate. Your windscreen will be going up and down, and you know you're getting shaken to bits in the car. It's quite a brutal environment you're surrounded by, but the benefits can be astronomical to your performance.
And again, you can see here, Menu was thinking about tucking up the inside, but that clearly would have involved a 3-car shunt. Not ideal. Let's catch up now with our race winner, Rob Huff.
Rob, you knew that was going to be a race full of pressure. You talked about it. Tell us how you dealt with it.
It was hard, you know, really hard. About 3/4 of the way down the straight, you know, we're giving away such a slipstream when you're the first car, and it just sucks the car behind you all the way up to your rear bumper. And you know, when you've got Ivan doing that to you every lap, it's very difficult, and it's all about placement of the car. But was just lucky, you know, he never fully got sort of past me on the outside to be able to come across and close the door. But it was, yeah, it was very much. I think I was looking backwards more than I was looking forwards in that race.
Was the safety car a help or a hindrance?
I think it was a help, really, because you know, it was very close. There was never any time when I had a gap from Ivan, so it was just a nice few laps there to be able to cool down a bit, rethink if we can do anything, you know, to try and defend a bit harder. But we did it right, and we got there in the end, so very pleased.
Congratulations.
Thank you, cheers.
Well, feeling relieved as much as anything else that he did exactly what he had to do, hold off his teammates all the way through. It's always more difficult when you're holding off a car driven by somebody else in the next garage, because you can't take any risks at all with him or with yourself. Well, Ivan Muller got very close indeed in the end, had to settle for second.
Ivan, a really tricky one for you. You're both attacking and defending.
Yeah, exactly. I had to do my best to try to overtake Rob, but Alan was behind, so I had to look to keep my eyes in the mirror. And unfortunately, I couldn't try everything without too much risk, because I had to save my second place too.
You did get alongside. Was there any opportunities to be a bit more forceful?
The bigger opportunities was 4 or 5 laps to the end, when on turn 9 I went outside. And then turn 10 I was outside too, but the corner was a bit too tight. I did more travel than Rob, so I couldn't use the advantage on turn 11.
Okay, thank you.
It's like that?
That's the way it is. Yeah, it got very close indeed, and Alain Menu probably had the best view of all of this of anybody. It was all happening in front of him, and perhaps of the three of them, it was the toughest job to try and pick the line that didn't end up with him tripping up either of them. Third place for Alain Menu.
And throughout the race, absolutely there, right behind your two teammates. You must have been getting a mega tow.
Yes, I did, but I was losing a little bit of ground out of turn 5, which is the corner onto that back straight. But yes, it was interesting watching Ivan trying to overtake Rob. It was quite... at one point I thought, no, maybe they'll touch, but that was my only hope, really. You know, it would have been too risky to try anything behind, so I was just like waiting, biding my time. But okay, in the end, third is a good result.
The last couple of laps, you did drop off a back just a little bit. Was there any problem with the car?
No, on the last lap I didn't see the gravel through that first chicane because of the two cars in front of me, and I lost time there, and then I lost kind of the toe. So no, that's the reason. But anyway, you know, like I said, third it's good for the championship.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Well, they are all still in it, Matt. I can't see that that's going to be decided anytime soon. We will probably end up getting to Macau before we find out who our champion is. And Alexei Dudecarlo's car, well, he is supposed to be on pole for race 2, but you can see either A, it's too broken, or B, they have to take it out of Parc Fermé and fix it, which means that he will be sent to the back of the grid. So for Alexei, a chance perhaps to lead the race, maybe even claim his first World Touring Car Championship win, has gone west. This clash with Mehdi Benani and Norbert Michelis is what put pay to that.
Just looking at that accident, I would have to, well, I was going to say it's Dudecarlo's fault, but he wasn't, you know, who was on his inside? Benani.
Yeah,
he wasn't far enough.
It's a 50-50. Neither of them had the room to survive it, and I want to hear.
But I think it's just, I got a message that it's just a broken steering arm, so they should be. It's just literally a bolt-on, bolt-off, bolt-on part, so they should be able to replace that pretty quick.
Background, Darrell O'Young. This is where he went off into the chicane. Massive lock-up there, and you wonder whether something had broken at that stage. Because it certainly broke at the next corner, turn 5, in a big way. Darrell got through the chicane there, watching the yellow car rather than Stefano D'Aste rejoining. But Darrell went off quite heavily at the next corner. Pepe Oriola still leads the independent standings from Norbert Michelis, Stefano Daste, who didn't score, Franz Engsler. Alex McDowell moves up ahead of Mehdi Benani after winning the Yokohama Trophy race here. Benani ending up in 17th position, so didn't score particularly strongly, and Alexi Dudicalo didn't score either. Pasquale Di Sabatino, like his teammate, also moves ahead of his closest rival, Gabor Weber. You can see they're down at the Lukoil team. They are looking at getting on with the work in the background. Antonio Rodriguez, who oversees the operations of this car. They can see drive shaft ready to go in. And they're getting ready with everything on that right front corner mat, but it's going to mean either they are going to work very hard indeed in the 15 minutes to try and get him out, or they've got to take it out, and I think they're going to go with trying to do it during rescue time.
They've got to. They've got no alternative.
Yeah.
You throw it away if you don't start from the front.
Yeah, same deal as we saw with Ford gambling on it, same deal as we saw with Engster gambling on it in Oschersleben last year. You have got to gamble. If you don't, you guarantee you're not going to be on pole for the next race.